Amar Shmuel, 47 line down, Daf Kufa, Amud Aleph. The Mishnah says when the tenant of the field can reduce the rent that he owes to the owner in a case of tragedy. That only applies if he actually planted it and it started to grow. And then the locusts ate it. If he didn't start planting at all, he can't say that, oh, look what happened. Because the owner could tell him, if you would have planted it, happened the pasuk would have happened for me. Maybe I would have been spared from famine, and therefore, if you would have planted, it would have went through, and you can't claim that it's not your fault that you didn't plant, and you should batur. If a shepherd was with his flock, and he left the flock to go into the town, and a wolf tore away an animal. Ubaris or lion came. Right? So that case said that if we don't say he automatically pays, but rather we see if he had been there, would he be able to have helped it? And if he would have helped it, batur. The amai, how come according to what he just said? Maybe why would he batur? Maybe the owner of the sheep can tell him you have it. Basically, the pasuk says that you could be spared. So maybe the same way we use the pasuk to spare the to charge the tenants, maybe we should do over here to charge the shepherd. The says Mishum Damar because that's not true because they could tell the owner Mahavid Hazid Hashaniza يبعتوش لك ربيع هنا نتساءل ميتا إزي دوبة بكنايو. He says no. He says because the shepherd could tell the owner that if a miracle was supposed to happen, a miracle could have happened easily that the sheep would have survived by killing the animal, just like a ghost killed the wolves. The Gemara says, okay, but the owner can say back to him, okay, maybe I didn't deserve a big miracle for my goat, my sheep to kill the lion, but a small miracle of you saving my animal, maybe Hazina I did deserve, and therefore you should be chayav. Kasha, good question. Tanya Hada. Let's say the guy planted the field once and twice. He had to have tried once or twice before being patur, being reducing his rental. Ushit inu zara, but he doesn't have to do a third time. Then another brother says, shishit zara, he has to try 3 times. Revi'it inu zara, but not 4 times. Rashi says, lakasha, it's not a stira. Hani, Rabbi, this is according to Rabbi. Had Rabbanan rishar shbag, and the other place like Rishbag. How could Rabbi? This opinion of Rabbi, Tamir B'trez in Hazakah, because he holds in general 2 times considered Hazakah, established, and therefore patur number 3. How could Rashbag? The second opinion holds is Rakshbag, that holds 3 times is establishing the hazakah, and therefore you need to try 3 times. Amarish Lakish. Mentioned earlier that only if you actually planted, then the locust ate it. If you planted nothing, grew. The owner can tell the tenant all the planting days of the season you have to continue planting. Like I don't care, nothing happened, or I don't care if it already got eaten. You have to keep on trying. When is it considered planting? Still, when the shepherd, the croppers would come into the field, when the Kima constellation, the certain star, is above their heads, which is somewhere in the middle of Adar. That's the season. Amazing. I have a question. Ashbag משום אמר רבי שמעון בן גמליאל משום רבי מאיר אומר וכן היה רבי שמעון בן עשו מדבריו חצי תשרי מחשוון וחצי כסלו. The second half of Tishrei, Heshvan, and the first half of Kislev is the Zera is planting season. Hatzi Kislev, Tevet, Vahatzi Shivat. Half of Kislev, Tevet, and the half of Shivat, Horef is winter season. Hatzi Shivat, Adar, Vahatzi Nisan. Half of Shivat, the whole Adar, and half of Nisan. Cold is the cold season. Hatzi Nisan, Iyar, Vahatzi Sivan. The half of Nisan, whole ER and half a Sivan. Katsir is harvest season. Hatzini Sivan, Tammuz, Vahatzi Av. The second half of Sivan, whole Tammuz and half of Av. Kayit is summer. Hatzi Av Elul, Vahati Tishrei. Second half of Av Elul and the first half of Tishrei. Home is hot season. Rabbi Dam Menem Tishrei. Rabbi Dam counts from Tishrei. Rabbi Shimon Menem Mimar Heshvan. And Rabbi Shimon counts from Heshvan. So my make a cool. Who's the most lenient opinion? Rabbi Shimon. It's Rabbi Shimon. The Kule Hai. Look, he didn't say that this planted season is in Adar. Right? All opinions said different things, but nobody said it's Adar. Lakasha is not Sira. Had the Kabla Minah Harifi, where the tenant leased the field for the early crops. In that case, it will be planting at the beginning of the winter. Had the Kabla Minah where Rabba's holding is talking about where he leased it for later crops, and therefore they are planted as late as Adar. Rabbi Dam says, if the guy leased the field for cash, right? We said in Mishnah, then he's patur, he can never reduce the rental. How grab was the guy that could be out of the misery who may want least to feel the plant garlic. I good didn't have Malka Saba along the riverside of the Malka Saba River. Bezuza he paid cash. Istakar Nahar Malka Saba, the whole river became blocked. And now he couldn't water it. It's unusual for it to be blocked. It's a general tragedy and therefore patur. The Gemara says, we know if you pay cash, there is no reduction. Only reduction if this you pay for the with fruits. The Gemara says, let the hash to the rida, we don't hold like rida. Next Mishnah, needs to leave land from his friend. For 10 cores of wheat per year. And then the crop got destroyed. He has to pay the rental from the crop. If the wheat of that crop was better, he can't tell the owner, I'll buy regular wheat and pay the rental, and I'll keep the better wheat for myself from the crop. Ella is also to get the higher quality from the crops. He leaves the field to plant as pasta, this feed, animal feed type of grain. And he wanted to pay with barley. After the aspasta, he ended up making aspasta. And he is able to replow and replant with barley. And those barley plants, however, grew incorrectly. They didn't grow well. So what's the halacha? That means I consider that it was a bad crop and you could pay from that. Although maybe you can't compare it to the case in the Mishnah because you already grew aspasta. Is not comparable. In the case of the Mishnah where you leased the land for A and it didn't work, that the land didn't do what's supposed to do. But over here, the land did do what it's supposed to do. Therefore, you can't pay with this bad barley because you got your aspasta plant already. Leased the dinyan from his friend. For 10 barrels of wine. The wine, however, was sour. Maybe he thought, to pay the bad product. Right? Seemingly, the Gemara says no. You can't compare that. But the Mishnah, the land didn't do good when it produced bad crop. But here it did do. It did what it was supposed to do. It grew grapes. The wine, however, got messed up. That's not the landowner's problem. Rabashi would agree. And in the case of grapes that became infested, was the or the field where the crop got damaged while still growing. That's considered that the land did not do what it's supposed to do, and you could pay from that. Someone leases a field from a friend to plant it barley. He can't plant it with wheat. If he leases it to plant wheat, he can plant it with barley because barley doesn't use as much doesn't do as much damage to the field as wheat does. So if he wanted wheat, he can't. If he did barley, he can't do wheat because that's more damage. Rashbago said it. Rash says no, you can't change anything. If someone leaves the field to plant the grain, he can't plant beans. Also because beans damages the land more. But he did want to do beans, he can do grain because it doesn't do as much damage. Rashbag again says you can't make any changes. Why does Rashbag not let? Diktiv Pasuk says, don't say things and do things, don't lie. So you don't change what you agreed to do. The problem is we have a Mishnah that says the collection of Purim is for Purim. You can't check into it. You can't make sure that the money you donate for Purim has to be used for Purim stuff. The poor person can't buy a strap for his shoe from this money unless they told him from beforehand before they gave him the money. He actually says you're allowed to. So we see over here that you can use something even without a condition. So Hakam Rashbag says you can't plant a different crop in a Mishnah. The Gemara says, Rabbi Shimon Kidmor. Rabbi Shimon Ben Gamliel had like the following. Someone wants to make his land barren, empty. He plant year after year with wheat, and then barley. Then plant lengthwise and then cross widthwise. We see from here that the landowner may not want certain plants being done because he may have done it the previous year and it could be detrimental to his land, and therefore he can make demands. That only applies when he repeated it. If he did replow it, let Lanbad no concern. So that's the reason, not because of changing, but rather because the guy may have a preference due to damage. Tivual is another hadith. If you said at least for grain, you can't plant beans. Matan Ravin has the question. He has what taught the Mishnah. Tivual is another kitni to plant grain. If you did grain, you can plant it with beans. Marle v'hanan tanan tivual is another kitni, but you say you can't do it. Marle v'kasha halan v'halahu. That Mishnah was in talking about Bavel, but in Eretz Israel it is mutar. Right? There's no worry about the land getting bad in Eretz Israel. Ravin, my dear brother Ravin, not literally, but just calling him brother. The wild things that grow, the little bushes thingies that grow by the flax. In Behemishim Gezel, there's no Isur of Gezel. You could take it out of permission because it's damaging. But if it's on the border of the flax, it's stealing because the guy may want it and it's not damaging the flax. But if those stalks became hard enough for the seeds to have ripened, I feel even on the border, even among the actual flax, you can't take it, it's considered stealing. My time, my why? My seed, because at that point it already did the damage, and therefore the guy might as well keep it. Ravin Achi, same thing, my brother. The fruit of some of these trees are mine, and some of these other dilach, and the some of them are mine. That's because the boundary, they say that whoever's roots are turned to that side belongs to that side. The fruits on the other side, the roots on the other side, those fruits belong to that person. The Itmar Bretta says, a tree stands on the boundary, Amarav, the roots turning one side belongs to that side, but the roots on the other side. Shmuel Amar, divide the fruits even down the middle. Metve, we see over here that the Mishnah says, the Bretta says you could split it. Tiv to Rav, a question against Rav. Tagmar Shmuel Rav answered it. With the tree, it fills the whole boundary, and the roots in both fields. So even in a case where the fruits are hanging on one side, you still split it. Where it says it's the chidush. Where it says you might think maybe the guy could say I want to split it right down the middle, with the fruits all hanging in my land. Therefore, we say the other guy could tell him, who says you could split it lengthwise down the middle. I want to split across the middle of the tree, and therefore let's split the fruits. My brother. Don't buy a field that's close to the town because it could be damaged. It's for a person to stand by his friend's field while it's growing season because of Ayin Hara. Anyway, that's so told him. What does the pasuk mean? You should be blessed in the city, you should be blessed in the field. Coming in, blessed when you're leaving. They say the following. Blessed in the city, that your house should be close to the shul. Should be blessing in the field. You should be blessing your property should be close to the city. The bracha we give to the Baal Bayit in Birkat Hamazon. That's when you come in. Your wife should be tehora when you come home from traveling. Bless when you leave. Your children shall be as big tzaddikim as you. All right, so we see that the first part, that it's a blessing for one's field to be close to the city, against what Yehuda said about buying close to the city. We're going to continue the Pesukim before we're answering the contradiction. Remember who? He also said, explain the Pesukim this differently. Ella, Baruch atah blessed in the city, you should have a bathroom close to your house. But not your shul next to you because you want the reward for walking. There's a reward for walking to shul. Blessed in the field, your property should be divided. Shalish b'tevuah, third in grain, shalish b'tetim, third in olives, shalish b'gefanim, third in vines, to diversify. Blessed when you go in and out. You should come into the world like you should leave the world like you came in. Just like you came in without sins, you should also leave without sins. So now back to this tira. What is good near the city, not near the city, of two different explanations. When Rav said it's good owning near the city, is when there is a tall hedge or trees blocking that people can't see. But when Rita says don't buy, it when there's nothing blocking and you are prone to Ayin Hara.